This is only the second video we've ever made about this player, and I think it's a little overdue. The first time we talked about this guy was back in April of 2019, back when he was a 19-year-old himself. And you take a look at why we were talking about this player back then, it was because he was such a good and underrated prospect from a location you don't normally see NHL prospects come from. He was so good, so young, and so poised to being a potential star that I made a video saying that, hey, this guy could be a potential Calder candidate in 2019-20. Now, that video was all positive, and we were all hyped up for this guy, but unfortunately, this video today, 3 years down the line, is going over into a completely different emotional territory. Let's go over to Columbus, Ohio, and talk about a player by the name of Alexandre Texier, who's a French dude, and when I say a French dude, I don't mean French-Canadian, I mean French. He is from Grenoble, France. And he actually did play his youth hockey in France before getting drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets in the 2017 draft in the second round. Now, his birthday is September 13th, 1999, meaning that if he was born 2 days later, he would have been eligible for the 2018 NHL Entry Draft, where he likely would have gone a lot higher. This is because Texier in his real draft season had himself 19 points in 40 games played. In his season after that for Kalpa in the Finnish Liga, so the top pro men's league in Finland, he had 22 points in 53 games played. And then as a 19-year-old, he was the best player on his Kalpa team, getting 41 points in 55 games played. Just tremendous production from a teenager over there, especially somebody who had only been new to the country for 2 years up to that point. In this same season, after putting up just great numbers for the Kalpa team, he went over to the Cleveland Monsters in the AHL, was a point-per-game player over there, made the regular Blue Jackets too, scored a goal in the regular season, and then he played 8 playoff games with the team, had 2 goals, one of them was an absolute snipe, the other was an empty netter, and at this point in time, a lot of fans, myself included, were saying that, hey, this guy could be an absolute underdog for the Calder Trophy, especially as a brand new NHL star to be. Well, give it 3 years and we have ourselves a very unfortunate announcement from Alexandre Texier. This is what the Blue Jackets staff posted yesterday on their website. Blue Jackets forward Alexandre Texier will not join the team for the 2022-2023 season. Now, that is a complete 180 in terms of the progression and all the stuff that we were talking about, how he was good and everything from a few minutes ago. So what exactly happened here? Let's go over to the press release on the Blue Jackets website, try to talk about what happened, and go over what's going to happen next too. Columbus Blue Jackets GM and alternate governor Jarmo Kekalainen announced today that their forward Alexandre Texier, per the active and recommendation of the NHLPA Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health Program, will not join the club for the 22-23 NHL season. The rights of the club and player will be consistent with the treatment of a suspended player, so he will not be paid by the Blue Jackets and his salary will not count against the salary cap. As part of an agreement between the club, NHL, NHLPA, and the player, Texier will be permitted to sign a 1-year contract to play in Europe for the 22-23 season. Now, hold up, what the hell is going on here? That is a lot of information to take in from 2 paragraphs, but pretty much, Texier is not going to play in the NHL the upcoming season. He'll sign a 1-year contract to play in Europe. Aaron Portzline actually went out there and said that he's told that Texier will sign and play in Switzerland. The announcement is coming soon. And the Blue Jackets pretty much have no financial commitment to Texier for this upcoming season because, as per the recommendations of the NHL and the NHL's PA Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health Program, he will be departing the club. Here's a statement from Texier himself. During the past year, I've experienced some personal issues and challenges, and I feel like I need to be close to my family at this time. I have love and respect for the city of Columbus, the Blue Jackets, and the fans, as everyone has always treated me first class. I truly appreciate the support, help, and empathy I've received from team management, the coaching staff, doctors, trainers, and my teammates. This was a hard decision, but it is the best one for me right now. Jarmo Kekalainen said this: Texier and I recently had a very long conversation in which he indicated to me that he was not ready to resume his career in the NHL at this time. While we are disappointed, Tex will not be joining us for the 22-23 season as we anticipated. His mental health and well-being remain our top priority, and we will continue to support him in any way we can. He was granted a leave of absence by the club last March after being sidelined due to a fractured finger, and he also has not really had the best record with injuries, which we're going to go over here. So pretty much for Texier, I mean, a lot of people, myself included, were really interested in seeing how Texier would progress from last year into this year, because last season, I mean, the guy had 20 points in 36 games played. Do the math over 82 games, and he is almost on pace for like 45 points. Not bad in the slightest, especially for a guy that's only 22 years old. But this was supposed to be the coming out year, you know? Texier, in his first full season in NHL play, had 13 points in 36 games played, which isn't terrible, but it definitely wasn't in the same sort of caliber that people were expecting he would be able to achieve after his stint in the Liga and his short playoff run with the Blue Jackets. He went over to Grenoble again to start out 2020-2021 because the season was cut short. He had 15 points in 49 games played with the Blue Jackets when the season returned, and then he had that 20-point year the next season. But for Alexandre Texier, I mean, a lot of people were looking at his Olympic game performance saying, hey, the guy had 4 points in 3 games for the Olympic qualifiers for Team France. He also was almost a point per game for Team France at the World Championships. He legitimately is one of the best French players in the world right now. And just knowing how young he is makes it a lot easier to cheer for this guy and hope that he has a great career ahead of him. Now, unfortunately, that career is not going to really progress at the NHL level for 22-23, but at the end of the day, I mean, Kekalainen said it himself, the mental well-being of this player is going to be the top priority, and I think everybody is going out there and saying the same thing. Hey, even though it sucks that this legitimately talented young player is not going to play with the Blue Jackets next season, at the end of the day, we all hope that he's able to get the help that he needs and he's able to recover properly under the guidance of the NHL PA's Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health Program. Now, I know some people might go out there and say, oh, substance abuse, it means that he's abusing stuff, right? But, like, I don't really know if that's necessarily the case, because apparently the Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health Program also goes over a lot of mental health and recovery things as well in that respect. So even though in the name of the program it says substance abuse, I don't necessarily think that means that every case being guided by them is a substance abuse situation, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what it is, right? If Texier does need help and support, and he's willing to go out there and ask for that, which is a very admirable move, by the way, never be afraid to ask for help, then Blue Jackets fans, NHL fans, prospect fans, French hockey fans, all we gotta do is go out there and say, hey, hopefully things go well for him within the next 12 months. Now, there also are some other questions that I think this sort of what's the noun verb of somebody leaving the team? Departure, I guess. Yeah, there are some other questions that this departure could open up, like, hey, what does this mean for Kent Johnson? Is he on the team next season? Because Texier opens up a winger spot, and Johnson can come in there, fill in that opportunity, and just show what it was that he had at the World Juniors in Columbus next season? I don't know, man. What's going to happen when Texier comes back? There's some speculation in the Columbus Blue Jackets subreddit in the comment section saying, hey, Nyquist, he might be gone, and then Texier could come in and replace him, so there's actually a pretty good cohesive movement of players throughout the forward core from this season into the next season, because with Texier on the roster already, there was sort of a glute of wingers according to some of the comments that I'm reading over here, so we'll see whether or not there is another opportunity for other guys to step in this role, but at the end of the day, Texier is a player that I really did feel like his season this year, had he played in the NHL, just based off the progression from what he had last season, might have actually been pretty good. It's just unfortunate, though, that we are all going to have to wait a season for that to transpire at the NHL level. But in the meantime, I hope he goes out there and absolutely dominates the Swiss League. He goes out there, he's a point-per-game player, he's the best player in the league. I think he's good enough to do that. Like, I mean, he was already super good in Finland when he was 19, so what more in the Swiss League, which I think is a little bit of a worse league than the Finnish Hockey League, so we'll see what Texier does next season. But talk to me in the comments as well, what are your thoughts and opinions about this entire departure? The reasoning for Texier, I'm actually really, really proud of the guy for being able to go out there and say publicly what's going on and how he needs to take a step back. I think that's a very admirable move. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Texier and his progression. Where do you think he's going to be 1, 2, 3 years from now removed from this situation? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.